Is Bruno Mars finally about to break his silence with the biggest album of his career? Could BM4 be the masterpiece fans have waited nearly a decade for? Rumors of secret negotiations, a world tour, and a mysterious rollout plan have sparked global frenzy. What exactly is Bruno planning? And why is it all happening now? Like, comment, and subscribe to stay ahead of the storm, because what's coming might just change everything we thought we knew about him. For years, fans have begged, pleaded, and prayed for a new Bruno Mars album. Every cryptic post, every rare appearance, every unexpected stage cameo has been dissected for clues. And now finally it seems the silence is beginning to crack. A trusted insider close to the Mars camp whispered something that has sent shockwaves through the music world. He's almost done. The fifth album is nearly finished. It's being called BM4, internally a title short, mysterious, and powerful, echoing the energy of an artist who has always walked the tightrope between secrecy and spectacle. There has been no formal announcement, no interviews, no tweet, no live stream, and yet the signs are there. Bold, undeniable, and louder than any press release. Whispers have escalated into roars as multiple anonymous sources confirm that Bruno Mars is currently negotiating with Live Nation. But this isn't just any tour. This is being framed as the tour, one that could rival his legendary 2-4K Magic World Tour, one that could stretch across continents, breaking new records and possibly redefining his legacy. The word epic keeps surfacing, and those who've had even a taste of the material say it's unlike anything he's ever done before. So why now? Why after nearly 8 years without a solo album would Bruno Mars suddenly begin moving at full speed? Why is the famously selective, slow-burning perfectionist preparing for a massive launch before the year is out? The answer may lie in the undercurrent of emotion that has surrounded his recent performances, his subtle collaborations, and the rare glimpses of him online. There was something different about the Bruno Mars who appeared unannounced on stage at Blackpink's show in LA, who laughed about fake debt rumors with a sly grin, who posted almost out of debt behebe, as if mocking not just headlines, but the idea that anyone had figured him out. It was a performance, but it was also a warning. He's coming back on his terms, in his own time, and with something that could shake the ground beneath pop music's current landscape. Fans have begun to connect the dots. The mysterious project teased in late 2024, the low-profile studio sessions spotted in Malibu, the increase in behind-the-scenes activity from his longtime collaborators, the absence of a major tour announcement despite his ongoing Las Vegas residency now seems more like a carefully calculated delay rather than a lack of interest. Every silence has been strategic, every move choreographed, because BM4 isn't just an album, it's a statement. It's the return of one of music's most elusive showmen, not with a whisper, but with a cinematic roar. Sources say the sound palette is wild, blending soul, funk, samba, and even orchestral interludes. Bruno is reportedly experimenting with multi-part songs that stretch 5 or 6 minutes, and writing lyrics that dig deeper than ever before. One track, described as a heartbreak anthem dipped in champagne and blood, has already been compared to Prince at his most vulnerable and Michael Jackson at his most theatrical. There's no release date yet, but if the whispers are true, BM4 could arrive as early as November 2025. That would align perfectly with award season eligibility and open the gates for a record-breaking global rollout in 2026. If confirmed, this could mark the most ambitious year of Bruno Mars' career and perhaps the most intimate. What's clear is that Bruno is playing a long game. In an era when artists drop surprise albums overnight, he's crafting a slow burn, a vintage method in a streaming world, the kind of weight that builds legends, not just followers. And the fans feel it. Social media is a war zone of speculation. Is the album going to be visual? Will it contain a follow-up to leave the door open? Is he reuniting with Anderson .Paak under the Silk Sonic banner? Or leaving that sound behind entirely? Will Die with a Smile, his surprise Grammy-winning duet with Lady Gaga, make it onto the album? And what about Apt, the global smash with Rose that dominated charts earlier this year? Are these breadcrumbs, or part of the feast? Every week, someone claims to have insider knowledge. Some say it's all finished. Others insist he's re-recording half the album. A few bold fans claim to have heard leaks, though nothing credible has surfaced. The truth is, the mystery is part of the magic. Bruno Mars has never operated by the industry's schedule. He follows the beat of his own golden drum kit. But one thing is undeniable. Something massive is coming, and the music industry knows it. Insiders are watching Live Nation like hawks, waiting for any slip that might reveal a venue hold or a blocked calendar. Ticket vendors are bracing for an onslaught. Fan clubs have started preparing pre-order chains, giveaway contests, and watch parties. Everyone's on edge. No one knows exactly when, but everyone agrees it's happening, because Bruno Mars doesn't whisper unless he's about to shout. If the timeline holds true, fans could get a teaser by October, a lead single, a visual preview, maybe even a short film. Rumors swirl that Bruno is planning a Netflix documentary to accompany the album, chronicling not just the recording process but his internal struggles, the pressure of following up his past success, and the emotional cost of perfection. Insiders say he's ready to be more vulnerable than ever before. One source put it bluntly: he's telling his truth, finally. That truth, whatever it is, could open a new chapter not just for Bruno Mars, but for the entire genre he helped elevate. Because Bruno doesn't just make albums, he builds worlds. He's the kind of artist who disappears for years and returns with work that reshapes the sound of a decade. From doo-wops and hooligans to an orthodox jukebox, from 2/4K Magic to Silk Sonic, each era has been defined not just by sound, but by identity, style, feeling. BM4, sources say, is the culmination of all of that. It's Bruno in full control, an artist at the height of his power, a master of melody, performance, and mystery, letting the world back in on his own terms. What's coming won't just be an album, it'll be an event. So now, fans wait. The playlists are ready. The wallets are open. The calendars are marked with question marks and red hearts. Every hour feels like the calm before the storm. And every cryptic move, every post, every blink is analyzed with the desperation of people who have waited too long and still aren't ready for what's next. Because BM4 isn't just Bruno Mars' return. It might be his revolution. And when history is written, BM4 might stand not just as Bruno Mars' most ambitious project, but as a cultural reset. In the silence of the past few years, while other stars faded or fought for the spotlight, Bruno was building, layer by layer, beat by beat. He wasn't competing, he was crafting. His absence wasn't a disappearance, but a deliberate retreat. A retreat into sound, into soul, into something that could only emerge when it was ready, not rushed. That readiness is now peeking through the cracks. In exclusive whispers from those closest to the studio sessions, there's talk of collaborations so unexpected they defy genre. A string section composed by a European maestro, a samba rhythm recorded live in Rio, a spoken word piece. Bruno reportedly insisted on recording after midnight, alone in the booth, with just one take. These aren't features meant to boost streaming numbers. They're stories woven into melodies designed to mean something. One engineer described it like this: it doesn't sound like 2025, it sounds like 2040, but with the heart of 1970. Another simply said, it's cinematic, it's spiritual, it's painful. It's Bruno at his most human. And maybe that's the real surprise. Not that he's releasing a new album, not even that a world tour is looming, but that he's letting us see past the velvet suit and the spotlight. That Bruno Mars, the man, not the myth, is stepping forward, still smiling, still spinning, but this time, letting the cracks show. It takes courage to do that, especially for someone who's built a career on perfection, on flawless vocals, on tight choreography, on world-class instrumentation. But even legends grow, and it seems Bruno is done hiding behind the glitter. This isn't 2/4K anymore. This is raw, golden touched, and filtered, and waiting to shine. As fans theorize and timelines explode across Reddit and TikTok, Bruno's silence feels louder than ever. Every day he doesn't post is another day closer to detonation. The anticipation is intoxicating. It's not just a comeback, it's a countdown. To what exactly? No one can say. But the pressure is building. Music critics are sharpening their pens, Streaming platforms are preparing their top banners. Labels are rethinking their fall release calendars, because once BM4 drops, it will dominate. Not just because of who Bruno is, but because of what it represents. In a world drowning in content, BM4 is posed to be one of the few projects that actually matters. And perhaps that's Bruno's biggest magic trick of all. Not just making us dance, but making us care. Because as catchy as his choruses are, it's the soul in his voice that lingers. The ache behind the falsetto, the precision of every horn section, the unspoken stories between the verses. With BM4, that soul is reportedly front and center. Gone is the need to prove anything. This album, insiders say, isn't about success, it's about truth. It's about what happens after the after party, after the award shows, after the no's. It's about what remains. And for Bruno Mars, what remains is a voice, a vision, a feeling. One he's finally ready to share again. So when you hear it, whether it's through a leaked snippet, a midnight drop, or a world premiere on a Vegas stage, listen closely. Don't just hear the notes. Feel the intention behind them. The pain, the joy, the years in silence finally breaking open. This isn't just another album cycle. This is a seismic moment in the life of one of our greatest performers. And maybe that's why he waited this long. Because BM4 was never meant to fill a gap in the charts. It was meant to answer a question. Who is Bruno Mars when the spotlight fades? Very soon, we'll find out. And when we do, we won't be able to look away.